Hello everybody, I'm Prabhanshu Kumar Singh. I'm going to talk about Redis cache service. After that, we'll explore how to create a resource for Redis in Azure and we'll implement the same resource in Node.js. Without doing further delay, let's jump into the introduction of Redis cache service.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be talking about Redis and what Redis is basically. So before going to understand Redis, let me just first talk about caching. So as Prabhanshu has already said it, but I would like to reiterate. So to understand it simply, caching is a process of storing multiple copies of data or files in a temporary storage location so that they can be accessed faster. So it saves data for saves data and time for storage applications, server and web browsers, which ensures users need not download information every time they access a website or an application to speed up site loading. So as we know uh, now that as we are now aware that caching involves storing of data, we will need a database for doing so. So that is where Redis comes into play. So let me talk about the overview of Redis, what Redis is and what it does. So it is basically an in-memory data structure store used as a distributed in-memory key value database, cache, and message broker with a optional durability. So Redis has three main features that sets it apart from any other database. So Redis holds this database entirely in the memory using disk only for persistence. Redis has rich sets of data types, which I'll be discussing further. Redis can replicate data to any number of sleeves. So now talking about how Redis is integrated in an application system of architecture. So here, as you can see, for any basic website, when a client makes an HTTP request, it goes to the backend, and there, based on certain conditions, based on certain conditions, the Redis data structure comes into play. Now, what are those conditions? Say, for example, the client has made a request which needs an API to be called from a server whose retrieval would take some time. Now, to avoid going and accessing the server every time a request is made, Redis cache is used. So once the request is made by the client for an API, it gets saved in the Redis DB. And when the next time the client makes a request, it goes to the Redis DB and not to the server, which makes the entire process much faster. So moving on, Redis, when compared to other key value stores, it's quite ahead. It has key value database, where values can contain more complex data types with atomic operations defined on those data types. So it is also an in-memory data type, but persistent on the disk database. Therefore, there is a trade-off where very high read and write and read speed is achieved with a limited size data, which can't be larger than the memory. Moving on to the data types that it supports. So it basically supports 5 types of data types. As you can see, strings, hash, lists, sorted sets. And coming to the pros and the cons. So talking about the pros, it's extremely fast. Most of its functions happen in one time complexity. It supports various data types. As you already saw, it supports five different data types. It has atomic operations, which means that Redis operations are atomic, which ensures that if two clients concurrently access it, Redis server will receive the updated value. It's also comprehensive. And for the cons, it has a basic security. It is single threaded only, and it can only be uh, run through commands.
Thank you for watching and I look forward seeing you in my next video. In my next video, I am going to explore how to create a resource for Redis in Azure and then we'll integrate the same with Node.js. If you really enjoyed the video and found it valuable, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Until then, keep coding, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what you can achieve as a full stack developer.